Welcome back. Today we wanted to discuss some of the CDT principles that underlie our work. We've talked a lot about models and different approaches that we can use for CDT, but we want to now discuss what are the principles that underlie this. It's very important that we understand these because lots of circumstances will be different. And so we want to be able to, by understanding principles, we can adapt our programs to one that will make them much more likely to be successful. You're going to watch a video here, and I want you to think as you watch this video, what are these principles? And then I want you to discuss in your small group what these principles and some of the others that may be that you've learned during this training.
Community development training is based on 8 foundational principles. Each is important to understand and crucial to any CDT program that your small group will help start. The first principle of CDT is development versus relief. Relief is a temporary solution to a crisis situation. It is often intense, led by outsiders, and purposefully short-term. Providing assistance after a natural disaster like a hurricane or a flood, an earthquake or a tsunami is an example of relief. Development, however, is a long-term growth strategy in which a community or group of people learns to rely on God's provision and their own work rather than becoming dependent on outside help. The second principle of CDT is prevention versus cure. Curative medicine deals with disease after someone becomes sick. It is expensive, narrow in scope, and ineffective at reaching the billions of people that need help. While medical clinics must be available for those who need it, prevention helps to avoid the need for costly medical treatment in the first place. Preventative measures can range from clean water to regular checkups to inoculations, and are far better and more financially effective than the costly expense of treating a disease once it's already begun. CDT focuses on prevention over cure. The third principle of CDT is physical and spiritual integration. While physical needs are often the easiest to see, it is important to understand that many have spiritual root causes. Dealing with only the physical needs and not addressing a person's spiritual needs will result in a short-term fix at best. Oftentimes, the only true and lasting solution will be a spiritual one. CDT focuses on the whole person and both their physical and spiritual needs. The fourth principle of CDT is teaching versus doing. Many times, doing the job yourself seems like the quickest and easiest solution. Waiting while others learn to help themselves can be a long and frustrating process. With CDT, the focus is on teaching, because teaching is the only way to ensure that the crucial development work continues after your team has gone home. The fifth principle of CDT is community ownership. Any development program, no matter how powerful or how needed by the community, is only as good as the amount of support it receives from the people in the community. If people don't accept a program as their own, then as soon as the program's main supporters leave, that program fails. But when the people of a community believe in and accept responsibility for a program, then the amount of outside influence has little or no effect. The people will continue the work. CDT works because it helps people help themselves. Solutions are not imposed from the outside. They are developed by the people. Teams train local leaders and volunteers, and they help their own community through CDT. The sixth principle of CDT is mature leadership. When a community invests its people and resources into healthy development, leaders naturally emerge to oversee the process. The more opportunities they have to serve, and the longer the period of time they invest, the more mature the leaders become. Mature leaders are able to manage personalities, deal with the unexpected, and foresee upcoming opportunities. All of these things lead to long-term consistency in the development process. CDT helps to develop mature leadership. The seventh principle of CDT is sustainability. A sustainable solution to a community's needs is possible once a community owns and accepts responsibility for its own development, and once leaders have emerged to carry on their continuing work. Sustainability is important because it ensures a community will continue to develop in a healthy way long after your team has left. CDT focuses on sustainability. The eighth and final principle of CDT is multiplication or exponential growth. The spiritual giants affect billions of people, and the peace plan must be able to respond on a massive global scale. Rapid multiplication of healthy solutions is the only hope to combat these global giants. As volunteers learn and train their own communities to become healthy in the 5 areas of peace, those communities will multiply rapidly, using CDT to reach out to other hurting communities. Exponential growth happens when communities that are touched by CDT start teaching other communities to reach out and touch others.
I've asked my group here to put up the key 8 principles that do underlie these programs. So if I could ask them to come forward, and we'll put this on the tree, representing how we're going to grow our program.
Development, not relief.
Sustainable.
Have the principle of teaching versus doing it for them.
Very good.
Integration of physical and spiritual.
Very important.
Principle of prevention, not cure.
Mm-hmm.
Mature Christian leadership.
Community ownership.
The community has to own it.
Multiplication.
Okay, from these 8 principles, we can see that how important these are to build a successful CDT program. These represent the roots, the things that make it strong. These are the things that will nourish it in the whole process. It's very important that we understand the principles that underlie this so that we can work in many different situations and be able to adapt as needed.